Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something really fundamental, I think, to how we organize work. It's this quest, really, that's probably as old as people working together.
hmm
Think about ancient craftsmen figuring out better ways to build, right up to the really complex systems we're designing now. There's always this push to work smarter.
Especially as things get more complex and demands just keep
Absolutely.
increasing. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that drive for efficiency, effectiveness, it's deep. And the sources you've pulled for this deep dive, they really focus on a key shift, I'd say.
Okay.
How this different way of thinking, what we now call lean, it really changed how workplaces function.
Yeah.
Moving away from just, rigid control.
Towards something more collaborative.
Yeah, much more dynamic, much more collaborative.
Okay, so the big question we're digging into, using the insights from your material, is why lean isn't just like a history lesson or something for factories only, but why it's actually really vital for us now as we try to figure out AI integration in our work. We're going to pull out the key ideas on how this all evolved.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
And the sources, they trace its modern roots back to the 1930s.
With Toyota, right. They had the Toyota way, the Toyota production system. But my read from the material is this wasn't simply about, like, building cars faster.
Oh, not at all. It was.
Yeah.
It was a completely different philosophy, really. The revolutionary part, I think it really stood out, was how they treated the people doing the actual work.
How so?
Well, instead of just management figuring everything out and telling people what to do, top down,
Yeah.
Toyota actively brought workers in at all levels. They involved them in making things better.
So people weren't just seen as, like, cogs, they were actually sources of knowledge.
Exactly that. They understood that the folks doing the tasks day in, day out, they often have the most immediate understanding of the problems.
Where things aren't working smoothly.
Precisely. And how things could work better.
Yeah.
They tapped into that knowledge, that skill, for the good of the whole system, not just, trying to squeeze more speed out of individuals. That engagement was key.
Okay, so that Toyota way, this different approach, it eventually got a more general name.
It did, yeah. The term lean itself came quite a bit later, around 1988.
Oh.
It was a researcher, John Kraftek. He'd studied Toyota's system and was just really struck by how they managed to get, better results, higher quality, faster output, using way fewer resources.
Fewer resources.
Like less inventory sitting around, less wasted factory space, fewer mistakes needing rework, all that stuff.
Right.
That ability to basically do more with less, that's what he tried to capture with the word lean.
Okay, so the name stuck because it really hit that core idea, efficiency without waste. And these ideas, they were eventually kind of formalized.
They were, yeah. By 96, James Womack and Daniel Jones, they'd done a lot of research on Toyota, and they sort of codified the main ideas into what we now generally call the 5 lean principles. And that gave organizations outside of manufacturing a clearer framework to, understand and try to apply it.
And to really get why lean was such a shift, the sources make a point of comparing it to what came before it, right? Frederick Taylor's scientific management.
Oh, yeah, that's a crucial contrast. Taylorism, or scientific management, it came from a totally different place.
How so?
Taylor basically believed that the path to efficiency was through experts. Engineers, managers, they'd study a task down to the smallest detail. Scientifically figure out the absolute one best way to do that job, and then they just train the workers to do it exactly like that. No deviation.
And the big focus there was control, yeah. Making sure everyone followed the script perfectly.
Absolute control. It was very top-down. All the thinking, the decision-making that was supposed to happen at the management and expert level.
Right.
Workers were essentially seen as, carrying out instructions, not really contributing to how the work itself was designed or improved.
Which sounds like the complete opposite of what you said about Toyota involving everyone. Lean empowers the front line, Taylorism directs them. Is that fair?
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Lean fundamentally shifts where the improvement comes from. Taylor assumed the experts knew best and pushed solutions down. Lean says, wait a minute, the people actually doing the work have critical real-time insights. So it tries to build a collaborative culture where everyone's looking for waste and figuring out how to improve things.
So it's not just following orders, it's actively making the system better.
Exactly. That difference is huge.
Okay, that makes the contrast really clear. So let's dive into those 5 lean principles Womack and Jones laid out. What's the first one?
Foundation. The absolute starting point, the sources really stress this, is value.
Value.
And this principle demands that you define what value truly means, but specifically from the customer's perspective.
Okay, so it's not about what we think is cool internally or what process feels efficient to us.
Nope.
It's about what the person paying for it actually cares about and is willing to pay for.
That's it, precisely. It forces you to look outwards, to be customer-centric. Anything you do, any step in your process
Yeah.
that doesn't contribute to that customer-defined value, that's potentially waste.
So step one is making sure you're actually working on the right things, the things that matter to the end user.
Couldn't have said it better. Know your target.
Okay, makes total sense. Once you've figured out value, what's principle number 2?
Then you look at the value stream. This means you identify, you map out every single step, every activity involved in taking whatever you're producing.
Product, service.
Right. From the very beginning, maybe even from the concept stage, all the way until it's actually delivered to the customer.
So it's like drawing the entire map of how value gets created and delivered.
Exactly. You visualize the whole flow. And the reason you do this, the core purpose, is to spot the waste within that flow. And the sources are clear. Waste isn't always obvious piles of stuff. It can be hidden delays, unnecessary handoffs, waiting for approvals, fixing mistakes,
Rework.
all those things that slow the process down, add cost, and ultimately get in the way of delivering that value smoothly.
Got it. See the whole picture, find the friction, the waste, and target it. What's principle 3 then?
That leads right into flow. So you've mapped your stream, you're starting to see the waste. Flow is all about making sure the work moves through that stream smoothly, continuously, without getting stuck, without interruptions or bottlenecks where things just pile up.
So keeping things moving at a steady pace,
You-
avoiding those jams.
Exactly, creating a consistent rhythm. And here's a key point from the sources. Real flow aims for indefinite sustainability.
Indefinite sustainability. What does that mean exactly?
It means it actively discourages things like constantly relying on heroic efforts, like people burning the midnight oil all the time.
Okay. Because that's not sustainable.
Right. People get burned out, machines wear down, processes break under constant strain. Flow is about finding a pace you can maintain long term. That actually boosts productivity and morale because it reduces all that frustrating stop-start work.
That focus on the long haul for the system and the people, that's really important. Often gets missed, I think. Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is pull. This principle is all about limiting how much work is in the system at any one time, limiting work in progress, or WIP, and also reducing inventory.
So you only start new work when there's actually capacity or demand downstream, not just pushing stuff into the pipeline.
Precisely. Think just in time. Work gets pulled through the system by actual customer need or by the next step of the process being ready. You don't just push work in based on forecasts or just to keep everyone looking busy.
And that stops you from making too much stuff nobody wants yet.
Yeah, prevents overproduction, a huge form of waste. But limiting WIP also avoids all the delays and costs, both real costs and opportunity costs, when work just sits there waiting. And critically, the sources emphasize it prevents queues from forming. And they made a powerful point. Queues cause system performance to degrade exponentially.
Exponentially. Wow. Okay, that really highlights why keeping WIP low is so vital. Right, last one, number 5.
The 5th principle is perfection. Now, this isn't about reaching some mythical state where nothing ever goes wrong.
Okay, good, because that sounds impossible.
It is. The sources describe perfection more as a mindset, a direction you're always heading in, like a compass bearing, not a destination you arrive at.
So always striving to be better, but accepting you'll never be absolutely perfect.
Exactly. The idea is even if something is working pretty well, maybe good enough for now, that current state still reveals opportunities to make it even better. We're constantly looking, iterating, finding ways to improve, even small ways, at every chance. It builds a culture of continuous learning, continuous refinement, and that comes from everywhere. Top-down encouragement, bottom-up ideas from the team.
Value stream, flow, pull, perfection.
Oh,
Got the 5 principles. And the sources really position this whole lean approach as a kind of bridge, don't they?
they do, very much so. It acts as a bridge between, say, the very rigid, top-down, pure efficiency focus of Taylorism and the much more fluid, adaptable, resilience-focused world of agile approaches, which we often see in like product and service management.
Right. So Taylorism's strict control for efficiency, agile flexibility for resilience and adapting to change.
Broadly, yes. Agile thrives on adapting to emergent needs, changing requirements, building that resilience. Lean slots right in the middle. It gives you a systematic way to improve your processes for efficiency.
Okay.
But crucially, it does that while actively using the feedback and insights from the people involved. So you get structure and control for efficiency, but you also get the feedback loops and flexibility you need to adapt. It balances control and agility.
And that's where it gets super relevant for today. With AI coming in everywhere, work is just getting way more complex, right?
Exponentially so.
And we need systems that aren't just fast, but can also handle surprises, adapt, be resilient.
Absolutely. Lean principles give you a really solid framework for thinking about how you design and roll out AI solutions. So you get both of those things, efficiency and resilience. Because an AI system, it's still part of a larger process, right?
Yeah.
And that process can be understood, mapped, improved, managed using these lean ideas.
The sources had a good example with an AI chatbot. How would Lean fit there?
Okay, think about it. For the chatbot to be efficient, you'd use lean.
Yeah.
Define the value. What does the customer want? A quick, correct answer, right?
Right.
Map the value stream, query comes in, AI processes, response goes out. Find the waste.
Okay.
Improve the flow, reduce the wait time, make sure queries don't get lost. Use pull, manage the incoming requests so the system isn't swamped. And chase perfection, constantly train the AI, reduce errors, improve the answers.
Yeah.
That's systematic efficiency.
Faster answers, fewer mistakes.
Got it.
But chatbots also need to handle weird questions, new topics.
Yeah.
They need resilience too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where the agile mindset comes in alongside lean.
Yeah.
It lets the chatbot system and the team behind it constantly learn from what users are actually asking. It helps them adapt to new patterns, handle unexpected stuff gracefully, and evolve the chatbot skills as needs change. That provides the resilience and adaptability.
So Lean gives you the efficient engine, Agile gives you the adaptive steering.
That's a pretty good analogy, yeah. Lean provides the structure for efficiency and stability, while an agile mindset helps it navigate the chaos and keep getting better.
And the sources mentioned something really interesting about AI enabling this balance more now.
Yes, that's a key point. In the past, getting really high efficiency and really high resilience often felt like a trade-off. It was too costly or complex to do both well,
You had to pick one, usually.
pretty much. But now, AI potentially changes that game. By using frameworks like Lean to build efficient foundations and layering on the adaptability of agile thinking, AI can help systems be both highly efficient and dynamically resilient, almost in real time.
Yeah.
The sources suggest that's why these are such exciting times, that balance is becoming much more achievable.
Okay, so let's bring this home. What does all this mean for you, the listener? When you're looking at bringing AI into your company, your team, maybe just your own workflow, these lean principles aren't just some abstract theory.
Not at all. They're a really practical toolkit, a way of thinking. They can guide how you approach AI integration,
Yeah.
helping you look beyond just the cool tech and focus on creating whole systems, whole teams that are efficient, yes, but also resilient, adaptive, and built on that idea of continuous improvement and collaboration.
It helps you wrestle with that fundamental tension, doesn't it? Finding the sweet spot between enough control so things run smoothly and enough agility so you can actually deal with the real world, which is always changing.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows how that whole progression of thinking about work, from Taylor's strict control through Lean's collaborative improvement and connecting to Agile's adaptability, offers really valuable lessons for us right now, facing the AI integration wave.
So here's the final thought for you to chew on, drawn from the source material. As you integrate AI, how specifically can these lean principles help you strike that critical balance between control and agility?
Yeah, looking at your own situation, your business, your team, what do you think would help more right now? Focusing on lean efficiency, or maybe more on agile adaptability? Or is it about blending them thoughtfully?
And if you're already working on an AI project, have you actually stopped to ask, how could applying these lean ideas change how our team delivers the best possible value to our customers?
Some interesting questions to ponder, hopefully. We really hope this discussion has given you some useful perspectives.
And hey, if you want to explore the source material we've been discussing and dive even deeper into these concepts yourself, please do click on the links we've put in the description below.
Yeah, definitely check those out.